So I'm trying to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. And yes, I'm live on Facebook as well. Woo! Okay, so we'll wait a couple of minutes for people to join. And today we're going to be talking about moving on from newborn carrying. Stop my music, I forgot. So I'll be talking a little bit about what's going to happen when your baby gets bigger, what sling options you can have, what carrying options, giving lots of tips and just having a chat. So we'll wait a couple of minutes and we're just going to get started, and I'll just summarize again. So if you're waiting with me, I'll just get my kitten. Pippin! Pippin! Wee Pippin! So you can just stare at this beautiful kitten of mine. Say hi. You say hi, Pippin. Yes, yes. Okay, doing live is really hard. Okay, so if you're watching this, it's just you have to just fill the airtime until more people join, so you don't repeat the same thing over and over again. If you just joined, please write a message to say hi, how you doing, how old is your baby, what you're using. I want to know everything, and you're really welcome to ask any question at any point. If you're watching live, post your questions there. If you're watching in replay, you can put questions in the comments, or you can just message me and we can have a chat. If you need support as well, very, very happy to help and give you advice, or you can come and book a consultation. So all right, so let's get started. So let's imagine you have a newborn. You just gave birth maybe a few months ago, and you've been choosing, hi Molly, you've been choosing slings that are very suitable for newborns, and suddenly your newborn isn't such a newborn anymore, and you're slowly coming out of the 4th trimester and entering the wonderful 5th trimester with its own beautiful challenges, and you feel your sling might not be suitable physically anymore, but also because of your baby's needs. So it's very, very important to address your baby's needs, so your baby's happy and you're happy and the sling works for you and everything's going on well. So if you started with a stretchy wrap, which most people do, so I've got a boba wrap here because I really love boba wraps, they're really awesome. Even if your baby may not be above the upper weight limit, so for a boa wrap it's 15 kilos, Hana wrap 12.5, and then other wraps have different weight limits. It might start to feel that you're just not supported anymore. Your baby's bouncing a lot, getting a bit of pain and tension in your shoulders, you feel like your baby's moving around too much. So the nice bounce that you get at the beginning, that your baby loves because it okay, so I'm back live on Instagram, sorry. This might just not be as useful as your baby gets heavier. So you can keep using your stretchy wrap for as long as you want, as long as your baby doesn't exceed the upper weight limit, but you might want to start wrapping in a different manner. So you've probably been doing a pocket wrap cross carry, like this. Start like this, and then you bring the tails on your back, and then you bring them through, and then you cross and you put your baby in. What you might want to try is to do a front wrap cross carry, because you've got a bit more control over the tension, so you can pull a bit more and it's just a bit easier to adjust. So I'm going to do a little demo. So I'm going to bring baby on my shoulder. This carry works really well also if you have a one-way stretchy wrap. You might find it gives you some nice support as well. So I'm just going to pin a tail between my legs, and I'm going to sit baby straight in the pocket like this. Always observe safety, so this is just a quick demo, this is not a tutorial, but make sure you can always see your baby's face. Your baby's close enough to kiss, baby's upright, and you've got good positioning, and you can always see your baby's nose. So from there I'm going to tighten. So I'm going to grab the tail that's underneath, I'm going to pull away, bring the slack forward, keep pulling, give a little tug. It doesn't have to be really precise with stretchy wraps, that's what's really nice about them. Keep tension, pin between your knees, and I'm going to do the other one. You can just pull the whole thing if you want, or you can tighten strain by strain, pull, like this. Then grab both tails, give a last little wriggle that removes any slack, and also it's nice. Gives you a nice stretch. you go straight under your baby's bum, cross the tails under the legs, and then you can tie here. Usually stretch ups are pretty long depending on the brand. You can come back and tie on your front here, double knot, and also it gives you some nice support, especially if you're the mama who's been pregnant. You want some nice hip support, low back support. You can tighten as much as you want. That gives you some relief and it's really nice and comfortable. So you can carry just like that. Also, one layer carry is quite nice because it's less hot, but if you want extra support, you can always spread the passes like that. I like to twist, but with this stretch obviously different colors, so I might want to not twist actually, so we're just going to do this and this. Just always make sure that you've got nothing near the face. And you might find this gives you a bit more support as your baby gets bigger. Also, it's a bit easier to control them because as they get bigger, they have more mobility, they want to move around a bit more. So being able to control the tension better, you might find it's a little bit easier. Okay, so that's the front back cross carry. Same as with any other carries, you can just pop your baby out. And then you can try to pop your baby back in. It takes a bit more practice. I will say just redo it or move the tails to the side like that. Pop your baby back in and then bring the tails back over like that. It's a little bit easier to do. So you can do that with your stretchy wraps. You might find that it lasts you a little bit longer. That's one way to use it. You can look into doing hip carries as well if you want to give your baby more visibility. So instead of having your baby straight here, you can bring your baby to the hip or off center, which means that maybe more to the side, and you're giving them more visibility, which is what they're gonna want as they get bigger. If you really like stretchy wraps, you might want to move on to something that's really strong and supportive. So I love Je Porte Mon Baby wraps, or Love Radius they're called now. They're super strong. I don't know if you can tell the stretch, but that's a good stretch. And that is really supportive, especially if you're gonna use it in a front wrap cross carry. I've carried my second until it was about 12-13 months in that, and it was supportive and it was a chunk. So yeah, maybe another option if you really like the feel of the stretch and having a little bit of bounce, then you might find that this is just quite nice. Right, so if you find bouncing's not working out, you don't want to buy another wrap, but wrapping is your thing, you like wrapping, then you can move on to woven wraps. So woven wraps are really amazing. They last literally years. You can use them from birth, there's no reason why not to. But they're a lot stronger, so there's no stretch. See, I'm just pulling just a little bit of diagonal give for push. But otherwise there's no stretch. And then with this, you can front carry, hip carry, and you can back carry. With stretchy wraps, back carrying not so great, so I wouldn't recommend it. But it's up to you. You do with your things and your baby, obviously. So you might find keeping the wrapping going, but just going onto that, and you would wrap it on the front just like I show you in the front cross carry, but there's lots and lots of different ways to do it. Okay, this is not a tutorial for it, but this is giving you options. I still put my eldest until was 5 years old in that, so really it is really quite nice and supportive. You could move on to made-eyes. So if you like the idea of the woven but the wrapping is just not for you, you could go for made-eye, which is basically a carrier cut out of a woven wrap. So I'm going to give it a roll so it's not too high and it just fits my baby. Double knot on my back. I'll show you what it looks like. Put your baby on your front. This obviously you can use from newborn, no problem at all. As long as you roll, it's very flexible. You can roll it, you can cinch it, you can do pretty much what you want. They're super versatile, I love them. So I'm going to bring one strap over, pull down, bring the strap across, pin. I'm going to do the same here, over, pull down, across, and then you can either just go straight under the bum, or you can take your time spreading the fabric This one's got a huge hood. I'm just going to move it out of the way for a second. And then you can cross like this, spread, to give you extra support onto the legs, and then tie it back, double knot. This is just one way to use it. There's lots and lots of different ways. Lots of different ways to tie on the front, on the hip, and on the back as well. It's really versatile and it's really quite long lasting as well. Do be aware that Maydays come in kind of two sizes, so baby and then toddler. You might find at one point it might be a little bit short, but we can look at that. They're quite long lasting anyway. But the toddler sizes are quite big for babies, so something to consider. Right, million different options. You can go for a ring sling, and you grab one. So these again suitable from birth, but they're a bit stronger, and people like to move to ring slings as the baby get bigger because they want the visibility. So ring slings. Gonna quickly, so a quick demo again. We sit my baby on my hip, spread the fabric to the neck, and then I'm just going to tighten. Just bring the slack to the rings, tighten, tighten, and you're good to go. So what's nice about this is that my baby can see a lot. So as your baby gets older, they become more curious, and then you can just give them the visibility you want. Front carry, hip carry, it is also possible to back carry, a bit more challenging, so make sure you get some help for that. They're really great for toddlers as well, so when they want to go up and down, they want to walk, it's very, very quick. Awesome for breastfeeding and bottle feeding as well. So that's another option. You can go for a half buckle, so very similar to the Mayday, but for people who don't like thin waist belts, I want something a little bit more padded. So this is a Podma from Mama Ruga, really awesome, super versatile, and you've got a waist belt here, so it's a bit more padded. The strap system is the same. This one is a hybrid, so it's just very particular to the Podma. You can remove the waist belt and use it as a podagi, which is another option, but it's too many options for me to demo. It's best to really go and see your sling librarian consultant to just have a chat about what's going to work for you, how long you want a carrier to last for, if you want it as an in-between stage, or if you want it to live into toddlerhood. Most of these will live into toddlerhood. You might find ring slings sometimes put a bit more pressure, weight on the shoulder than another, so it might be something to think about. Otherwise, you can just move on to carriers. So there's a ton of them. I've done a whole tutorial on this. It's on my Facebook page, IGTV, and YouTube, so you can have a look. This is just one. This is a Boba X. I particularly like the Boba X because it grows with your baby, and you have micro adjustments, which means that you start very narrow. So you move the waist belt inside like that. And as your baby grows, you just do very small adjustments, make it wider and wider. When you reach maximum, you can add extenders. So it will last you maybe good 2 years, maybe more, and obviously it grows in height as well. You can go for more lightweight sling, like Zen slings, stuff like that. I'm not going to demo all the carriers because I will be here for hours and hours. And some people just want to move on to like more bulky carriers that have got a lot of lower back support, that are very strong and are not floppy. So this is more floppy, more lightweight. This is a bit more stronger. If you have moved on from your kaboo, so same as with the stretchy, you might find you're not getting as much support, then the kaboo, you can still use it, but you can also do a hip carry with it. So you can just bring. Okay, I'm back on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram people. Okay, so you can use your kaboo as a hip carry, so it will just give you a lot more visibility for your baby. It's just really nice as well. It's really comfortable. So these are options, right? Carrying options. With a lot of carriers, you can do hip carries. So instead of having your baby around your front, you can bring your baby to your hip, and that will give them visibility. With some carriers, you can start facing out. So with the Ergo Omni, for instance, you've got buttons here. You just bring the buttons in, and then you can narrow the base so your baby will sit facing the world. It's a lot to consider. it's a lot and a lot of options. I think one thing you need to remember is that your baby will probably change. So as your baby grows, they have different needs. So it's quite important to just check what's going to work for them. So is your baby getting more wriggly? Maybe that's when the stretchy doesn't work, so you might want to tie differently, you might want to try a stronger one, you might just want to move on to something completely different. Is your baby getting wriggly because they can't see, so they've got straps here quite close to their face and they don't like it, so they might want to see a lot more? Can you do a hip carry? There's a lot of carriers and slings you can do hip carries. So bringing your baby to the hip will give them the visibility they want. Do you have a carrier that offers facing out? So facing out, totally up to you. We usually recommend for you to wait until your baby's got good head control, so the baby's head is well supported. But facing out, like you can do it facing out, carrying baby facing out for as long as you want, but you might find it's recommended to turn them around after maybe 20-30 minutes, as it's not always the most comfortable for them and for you as well. And around the time your baby's got very good head control, around 6 months, we say it's up to you again. You can start back carrying, so that will give them more visibility, maybe make them happier. So there's really a lot to think about. When you want to move on to a different sling or carrier, just have a think about how long you want to use it. Do you want something that will just last you into toddlerhood, or just something for a while? Do you want to have something that you can use for other children? Just have a really good think about what you're going to buy, because if you buy new, slings can be a bit expensive, so it's really worth having a good thing and chat with your local sling librarian. You can find things secondhand as well, so look around. Other things that are going to happen as your baby grows, so your baby's going to be able to hold their head a lot better, so you might not need a lot of padding around the neck. So if you're padding like a stretchy wrap with a muslin toss or something, you might not need this as much, but make sure your baby still has good head support. Your baby might want to sit up, and then you might find they start doing the pushing on the leg thing, so that is just a normal development thing. So this is when maybe your stretchy or caboo might not be super supportive, so again, let's have a think about this. Lots of things are going to happen to them. They're going to be more curious, they're going to want to see more, they might want to just not like the constriction as much, because there's just so much to look around at. So have a think about this, take it one day at a time, see how your baby's getting on with the sling that you've got. Your baby's probably going to start teething at some point as well. So teething necklaces are really awesome. They distract them. It is safe for them to chew on. It is made from silicone that is food grade, which means that they can chew on it. So I found personally having teething necklaces really helped me when they were cranky, and because they were teething, and sometimes you can't tell they're teething. This is just what you might want to have. So they're very inexpensive. You can make them yourself if you want, and a very handy thing to have. Even if it's not just for teething and just relieving pressure on the gum, just to distract them. So you might want to have like things clipped, little like toys, whatever, like teething ring, whatever works for you, baby. Really, just having some distraction maybe. One thing you might want to think about, so if you have, especially with carriers, babies will go straight for the strap. So when they're teething, I love to chew these. It's super tasty apparently. So you might want to protect them, so you don't have to wash your carriers all the time. And also if there's any like straps or anything, you don't want saliva to go on there, and also can discolor them a little bit. So sock pads, these were made just for me with my logo from Carrie. You're gonna put them on, so you can get poppers, you can get Velcro. Just make sure the poppers are not coming off, especially if your baby's going to play with them. So you might want to put these on to protect your carrier. Tanya says it saves you boobs too. That's true. Absolutely. These are very inexpensive. Again, get yourself a pair or make them yourself. It's really easy. It's just a piece of fabric. You can put some padding in it if you want, and then some poppers or Velcro. It's really easy to make. Even me, I'm just absolutely rubbish at sewing. I'm a knitter. I can't work out how the sewing machine works, and I'm pretty sure I can make some. So it's just very, very simple. I think one thing to remember from moving on from newborn carrying is that you need to listen to your baby. Your baby's changing. They go through different developmental stages. If you follow the Wonder Weeks, you might see all the different things happening. Just follow your baby's needs. It's not always the sling that's a problem. Sometimes it's just that they've got their own ideas. They want to do other things. They want to see other things. And it's not you. Sometimes babies are cranky for lots of different reasons. So just see what works. It might mean trying lots of different slings on until you find the thing that works for you. Also make sure it's adapted to your needs. So if you are, especially if you're breastfeeding your baby and you breastfeed quite often, try to find something that is very easy to breastfeed in, so you can keep going with that, and it's not suddenly becoming very difficult to breastfeed in. So again, go to your sling library. I mean, there's nothing else I can say. Go to your sling library. We're here to help. We've got millions of slings between us, and we just love helping. We see parents all the time with babies who were newborn that we saw 3-4 months ago, and then suddenly the sling's not working anymore and everything is difficult and they're very stressed out. Your baby will change. Your baby's not staying newborn forever, and you need to accept that, and it's difficult, but it's okay. We've got solutions. There's lots of different things we can try. Sometimes they go on sling strike, so they don't want to be carried for a while because they're busy. They've got other things to do, you know, like they don't want a constriction. No, they want to go on the floor. They want to roll around. All of these like gross motor skills that are happening, these cognitive developments that are happening, you just have to follow your baby's needs and take it one day at a time. And there's lots of things going on in their little lives, but you're doing the best thing by carrying your baby. If you're breastfeeding, continue breastfeeding for as long as you can, as long as you want, and until you're still happy to do it. And don't hesitate to ask for help. It's very important. Sleep regressions happen. We're tired. Baby's teeth, baby change. It's just ask for help. There's lots of people out there to help you. So I'm going to stop talking now. There isn't too much to say about this topic. It's very much about following your baby's needs. If you have questions, feel free to pop them now. If you're watching this in replay, you can put them in the comments as well, or you can message me directly. I'll be more than happy to help you. So I'll just wait a couple of seconds for questions. Checking nobody missed anything. Okay. Right. Look at my other baby. Pippin! Come say hi. I'm tempted to make a sling for him because he's so gorgeous. I just want to hold him all the time. I'm a crazy cat lady. Yeah, I know. Right, so if no questions, that's fine. It means I've talked about everything. Thank you for joining. It was really nice chatting. Yes. And get in touch if you need anything. Bye.